John Neal here. Hello. How you doing? It's Friday the 23rd of April. St George's Day, in fact. That's another story. I'm actually on the A5, the Watling Street, heading west from near Nuneaton over towards Atherstone and Mancetter, and I'm going to explore Boudicca. There's other ways of saying that. I used to say Boudicca in the past, but Boudicca. The story of Boudicca goes back a very long way to the time of the Romans, sort of 40 or 60 AD, that's all. So you're talking nearly 2,000 years ago. So much of the architecture was all built up after that. So there's a very old church here at Mancetter, which no, wasn't there at the time. And yeah, let's have a look at the story of Boudicca and how she tried in vain to defeat the Romans, who had done her wrong. Well, here we are in Mancetter. The first thing I've got to do, ironically, is to put on my aviation glasses, which are not these. I have to use these so I can see the drone in the sky and the instructions on the phone. This is the mill, because this is Mill Lane, and this is the little river Anker, which looks a bit grubby here actually. It's usually very, very clean, having gone through the waterworks further upstream. But anyway, this is the mill. A bit dilapidated, not much more to see than a brick building. Actually, that back there I think is what you call a mill race. It's a diverted stream of water that goes past the mill to make it work back in the day. It doesn't work now, of course. This is the river Anker, much larger, and yeah, quite clean water. It's wonderful, really. Well, as you can see, this sign here about Roman Mancetter. I'm not going to be extra academic about any of this. I'll give you a few dates which I know of, but maybe I'll put all the details of the Roman names for all these places down below so you can check them out. But yeah, the main thing here is not even about Boudicca. This is about how important Mancetter was as a Roman settlement. And well, here I am in a field just a few metres away from the river Anker, and about barely half a mile away from the Watling Street, the Roman road, which you can see the lorries going along just here, which I drove along to get here. And this, they think, might be the place that Boudicca had her last battle against the Romans. She was a leader of the Iceni tribe, which were from Norfolk, and at some point her daughters were captured, as she was, and her daughters were raped, in fact, supposedly. Anyway, Boudicca, I always knew her as Boudicca, so I might break into one of the other names that they use. In AD 60, 61 they think, and she gathered together her troops, and he had a fair number of them, to try and defeat the Romans. And this was seen to be some sort of a heroic act. Truly it was, because to fight off the Romans was quite a formidable task. So she gathered her troops together and ended up going to Londinium, which wasn't so big a place, it wasn't the most important, and she wrecked Londinium, moved on to Colchester and razed that to the ground, burned everything, killed everybody, and then made off to St Albans, which was again on the Roman road. And then she made her way up the Roman road, being chased by the Romans. and there weren't so many in the Roman army. She had far more than they did, so she was pretty confident that she would defeat them. And then the only recollection they have that's been written down or gathered as information is that there were some hills nearby. It was obviously near the Roman road, so this is as good a site as any, and one of many suspected sites where Boudicca met her end. So the Romans turned up, and Boudicca and her army were camped in the hills, possibly at the back here, and they were so confident about winning because they far outnumbered the Romans. They sort of sent the soldiers in and sat back to watch the carnage. Unfortunately, the carnage went the other way, because you know the Romans, they were very well equipped and very well disciplined, and the tables were turned. The Romans won the day and slaughtered everybody, which was the end of Boudicca. However, the legend lives on, and for a woman to have led the troops in such a dramatic manner was recorded throughout history in Britain, and indeed there is a statue on the embankment in London which celebrates her honour and her bravery, really. So, do you want to have a look at the landscape that we've got? We can see the river, we can see the A5 over here, and we can see the hills at the back. Shall we go up? Yeah, let's do it. Well, this is obviously the River Anker, which has come from Nuneaton about 4 or 5 miles away. And at the back, at the top there, you can see the woods, which is the Hartsel Haze, been there before, as you know. And you can see the landscape might well have managed to stage a battle. The dust and the smoke at the top there is one of the quarries at work. And there are more wooded valleys at the back here, quite possibly where it may have happened. This is Mancetter church in the centre there. Mancetter's a small sort of village on the side of Atherstone town. Atherstone is further around this way to the west, and the A5, the Roman road, used to go right through the middle of it, but now there is a bypass which takes the traffic around. And the far side is Leicestershire. And here, just at the far side of the A5, we've got Witherley, which is a beautiful little village with a very nice church spire. And you can see now, as we look further along the road, how straight the A5, the Watling Street, is. Although you can see most of the landscape is fairly flat, these hills are one of the first ones you come across up the A5, and you can see here there is a railway, there is the A5, which the Romans put there of course, and also the canal. And so these hills are fairly significant to be the first ones that occur on this route, which gives the suspicion that this is where Boudicca in fact ended her time. The road that snakes down through the woods there is this, one of the prettiest little routes around. You can see we're quite high up here, and it meanders past the entrance to 1 or 2 quarries and then descends down off the hill through this lovely woodland. So to finish off, I crossed the A5 and visited the village of Witherley to look at the church and the River Anker going through this pretty little village.